Why do these low-key make me look like a minion? The jacket's also giving roadman. This is my impression of a roadman minion. Wagwan banana! You're welcome. Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm making a video that's actually going to be a part of a series, a two-part video. So if you do enjoy stuff like this, make sure you comment down below that you like it so that I can make more stuff like it. This is my little series where I'm going to be breaking down everything that you need to know about thrift shopping, because I would consider myself a sort of thrifting queen. Bachelor's in thrift, masters in thrift, doctorates in thrift. So I just thought that in this episode I'm going to go ahead and share some of my favorite thrift tips, thrift guide if you will. I am going to be making this episode specifically relating to London. So these tips are rather generic, and if you want me to maybe make more videos in this series, then consider subscribing and give this video a thumbs up so that I know that you like it. Also stay tuned to next video because I'm going to be doing some flipping, some thrift flip. So if you're interested in that, subscribe. Okay, let's get on with the video. My knees are... Question number one, what is thrifting in the UK? I think when people talk about thrifting, they think of the generic American warehouse thrift shops that has hundreds and hundreds of articles of clothing and furniture and everything that you can think of for like $1. Unfortunately, we don't have that in the UK because I'm pretty sure that one American thrift warehouse is bigger than pretty much the whole country. So when you ask people, hey, where's your outfit from? And they're like, oh, I thrifted at. They usually mean one of 5 things. I present to you the 5 pillars of thrifting in the UK. We've got kilo sales, markets, vintage shops, charity shops, and online marketplaces that you can pretty much do anywhere. So let's break these down. Okay, number one, we've got kilo sales, which personally for me are big no-nos that I never go to because I hate them so much. The concept of this is pretty much what the name suggests. You pay per kilo, you pay per weight of clothing articles. So usually you go to these sales, you pick up the things that you like, and at the end they just weigh them for you and tell you how much it is. There are a few different shops in London. There's quite a few in Covent Garden. There's some in Brick Lane. However, these shops are significantly better than probably my biggest nightmare of a thrifting situation, which are traveling kilo sales, pop-up events. I think they are adjacent to the worst humanity can offer. Clothing items in these are probably some of the most disgusting things that I have ever touched, covered in stains or just really worn down. Having said that, like I said again, I know plenty of people who found absolute bargains in these, things like coats. Not much can go wrong with a coat, especially if it's like high quality leather or whatever. Okay, here's my generic tips for kilo sales. Number one, if it's a traveling pop-up sale, make sure that you show up at the earliest time possible. A lot of the times these tickets will sell like one for 9 a.m., one for 10 a.m. and it might be pretty tempting to go at like 11 when you don't have to wake up at the crack of dawn to take a train to the other side of London. But I will say all the good things will be gone by then, so you might as well just not go. For my number 2 tip, I just wrote bring hand sanitizer. You can thank me later for that one. Ask the people working in the shop when it's restocked and if they have any sales coming up, because a lot of these shops will restock on certain dates, and then when the stock's running lower, they'll reduce the prices to make sure that it's all gone by the next restock. And like I said, if you're looking for more pop-up events, you can just search it up on Eventbrite by typing up kilo sale, and a bunch of kilo sales near you will show up. Except we have vintage shops, which I love vintage shops so much that I could actually spend hours and hours on them. I will say a lot of these tends to be a little bit on the pricier side because the people running them actually know the value of the items, so a lot of the times they will price them justly, which fair enough. But if you're on a budget and you're looking for like designer items, some of these might be a little bit too much on the pricier side. Having said that, definitely a few different shops scattered around London that have incredible stock and are very reasonable with their prices. And everybody stop what you're doing right now, because my most gate-kept shop in the world, I love the shop so much, Antiques of Kingston. If you're in South London, West London, or willing to travel, I definitely recommend this one. It's so good. I made a vlog on this channel a while ago when I went to Antiques of Kingston and some of other charity shops around Kingston. So if you want to look at that, you can go watch it. Okay, my generic tips for vintage shopping is, first of all, if you're buying something that's designer because you want something that's designer, just make sure it's authentic. You can ask someone at the tills. Usually they will do verifications. Another thing is that if you actually care about something being vintage, make sure that it's actually vintage, because I know a lot of these places in London will market themselves as a vintage shop and have like last season's H&M collection in it. And the last tip is just to take your time. In general, with thrifting, you just gotta take your time, but with vintage shops, they're so eclectic and there's just so many items. You really just have to take a good like hour at least to get through everything, because you never know what's in the back of some random rail that you find on the 4th floor of a vintage shop. Moving on to probably the most popular way of thrift shopping in the UK, we're talking about charity shops. Absolutely love charity shops. They always make me think of that one scene in Wild Child where they have to get ready for like the party and then they just go shopping in the little Scottish village. Is Wild Child set in Scotland? I feel like it is. If it's not, well, little British village. I think there's like 3 main advantages to charity shops. A, they're cheap. B, it's going to a good cause. And C, they're very much everywhere. I feel like every high street has at least like 2 or 3 of them. Having said that, there are definitely some better thrift shops around London, which brings me to tips. I cannot stress this enough, just go where the money is. So my general rule when I'm looking for good charity shops is just check which area voted Lib Dem. Things like Richmond, Kingston, like Chelsea, Kensington, just really good quality and good brands there, because the rich people are trying to get their closets decluttered so they can buy more new things, and I love their old things, so give me it. Along the same lines, there are definitely like variants of charity shops that have more high quality curated items. Trinity Hospice is probably one of the most curated ones. There's some really expensive ones in like Notting Hill. Mary's Living and Giving is also pretty curated and got good quality items, but again, I think it's the most relevant to which area that you're in. Another tip is to check out the kids section. There's a lot of different shops that will have a kids section towards the back, and most people tend to overlook it. And there's also some different charity shops which have like kids franchises. Like Farah has Farah Kids, for example, and the sizing that they carry out usually goes to like older teens. If you're a lover of the baby tea, do not sleep on the little boy section. Just saying, that's where the good stuff is. Again, I said this in regards to the kilo sale, but ask when the shops are restocked, because a lot of the times they'll take donations in regularly and they'll change like once a month or once a week. So if you ask people when it's restocked, then you know when to go and get the newest items before everybody gets their slimy, dirty hands on them. And I usually also just like to keep track of which shops are good for what. Like I know some shops are really good for jewelry, some are really good for the t-shirts, there's some that are really good for denim. Next up is also a very underrated method, which is going to different markets and different fairs. Yes, there's the super popular London tourist spots markets like Portobello and Brick Lane. And as much as I hate these like touristy scammy places, sometimes I have found some good bargains, and my all-time favorite t-shirt that I have ever owned in my lifetime came from Portobello Market. But one thing that's even better than these tourist hotspots are local markets. Hear me out. Things like church or school fairs, community markets, car boot sales. You can literally find any of these in like Facebook events or Facebook groups, or honestly just by walking around your town. For example, now it's summer and there's a lot of like annual school summer fairs, which definitely worth going to in my opinion. I have bought some of the best bargains in my life on these, and again, I say that if you want to look for something a little bit more high quality, go to the little affluent areas. So I will say this is pretty cool because your money's going back directly into a community, so it's good deeds and even gooder clothes. Better clothes, but I was trying to make a word pun. It doesn't matter. My tips for this is, like I said, just join different Facebook groups and search different events. There's some on Eventbrite as well. Honestly, you can just Google your borough with markets and a bunch of these will come up. If you're going to the popular London spots, I will say try to go earlier in the day. My go-to day is usually Saturday morning because that's when the most vendors are. I'll also say if you're going to these big London markets, make sure that you're not being overcharged, because a lot of the times they will just set the prices higher, and you don't have to be afraid to haggle. Just ask. If they say no, you can still buy the item. They're not going to take it away from you. Always make sure to bring cash when you go to these things, because a lot of these places don't have card readers. And last but not least is online thrifting. So things like Vinted and Depop. These again are super accessible if you don't live somewhere with a lot of shops or with a lot of transport, or if you're just feeling lazy, because guilty. My top tips for this is number one, just check it regularly. It's the same thing as a thrift shop. You can't just go in once and expect to find the thing that you were looking for. I usually like to go on things every day, especially if I have a specific item that I'm looking for. It's really helpful about using these apps as opposed to going to regular shops, that you can just like items and then the algorithm will shape it based on the things that you've searched and the things that you've liked and the things that you've bought, and it's so helpful. Another helpful tip when you're using online thrift shops is to search for brands that are a little bit more like evergreen, things that aren't so like fast fashiony, because if I was to search something like H&M on Vinted, yeah, some of the results could be things that are on H&M right now that I think are cute, but most of them will probably be collections from like 10 years ago. But like imagine you're looking for a pair of H&M jeans and you type up H&M on Vinted and you get flooded with 2020 microtrends. guys can also go follow me on Vinted because I occasionally sell things on there and I would love it if somebody bought them. Do you see the time? Do you see what time it is? It's time for generic tips and takeaways. I'm gonna say something and it's gonna sound crazy, but just hear me out. Probably the most useful thrifting tip that I have ever learned. Know your stains, okay? And hear me out, hear me out. A lot of the times you'll be thrift shopping and you'll see something with a stain and you either go, oh, I can totally get this out and buy it, and then you can't get it out. Or you go, ooh, I can't get this out, and then it's something like foundation that will like come out if you just washed it in a washing machine. I also said this throughout the video, but just don't be afraid to haggle for a bargain. A lot of the times you'll go into a charity shop and something will be wrong with a shirt and you can just go up to the till and just say, hey, this is ripped. Can I get it for like £2 less? And I will tell you that 9 out of 10 times they will say yes. Even with normal items, you just say, hey, 9? And they're like, yeah, okay. So do or die. I literally said this in my last video about thrifting. Always keep a list on your phone of things that you are looking for. And this is like, yes, clothing items, like if you want a specific type of skirt or a specific type of top, but also different materials or different fits, especially if you are looking to thrift flip some things, which is honestly probably my favorite part of thrifting because you can come up with some really cute things from some really ugly things. Just saying. I'll show you how to flip. Thrift flip. Thank you guys so much for watching. My camera keeps overheating, so there's no point in me rambling any longer. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up because that makes me a little bit happy. And I will see you probably when I post my next video. I'm not even gonna promise it's next week. I don't promise anything anymore. Let's just take it day by day. Okay, bye.